So, I wanted to share one of the worst experiences I've had with a therapist ever. Before I get into it, just realize that some therapists are amazing, but some aren't. And it's like teachers, it's like doctors, it's like anything. Some are great at their job, some aren't so great, and some you'll get along with, and some you won't based on their personality and your personality. So, this is my story. Basically, I started talking to the therapist and, you know, got deeper, and I started sharing some of the stuff that had happened to me in my past. I told her how I'd moved out of home and different instances of trauma and the impact on my mental health and, how I was feeling in terms of, in the past, self harming and suicide. And her response to every single thing that I was saying, so I'd say, like, yeah, I moved out of home at 15, and she was like, oh, like just shocked, just this absolute overt, oh my god, like she would be like, oh my god, and like that look in her eyes and this sort of amazement. And I don't know if she was putting it on or if she was legitimately shocked or what was happening, but it was very unprofessional and didn't really engender any sort of connection between me and her. If she was putting it on, if she was trying to show that she was like, oh my god, that's, terrible, or that's would have been traumatic, she really overdid it. And if she wasn't putting it on, if this is just what she thought, that's also not so great. If you're working in a therapist role, you really should have the ability to just be able to just deadpan things, in the sense that if someone tells you something shocking, to measure your response to that so that you don't freak the other person out. You know what I mean? I mean, like, people tell me things all the time. I just wrote a blog post in which it's basically talking about, not judging other people for their trauma and, believing them. But in that, I sort of talk about how you need to sort of measure your response when someone's talking to you. If someone says something to you, you got to believe them. But also, you can't act crazy shocked, because it might freak them out. It might suggest to them that they're the freak, that their situation is so uniquely odd that it's so shocking to you that you can't even contain your response. This is how this therapist made me feel. And I'm together enough to know to not take it personally, to realize that in this case it was her issue. So what did I do? I very quickly decided, once that session was over, to find myself a different therapist, because obviously this person wasn't going to work for me. Now, based on the practice, based on this person's, Google reviews, for lack of a better expression, she was clearly a competent therapist that was getting a bunch of different responders and a bunch of different people, happy with her services. Fine. Perhaps she's better at dealing with whatever they've got going on in their life compared to someone like me in my life. Like I said, over time I've found better therapists. I've tried a few, and I'm happy with my current one, and she will talk to me and relate to me and give me good suggestions, and has very, very much helped me come from, start moving through the recovery process. And I've done some previous videos of that you can check out. But this isn't to say that I won't, this isn't to say that if you find a therapist, basically what I'm trying to say is don't think that all therapists are going to be like your first therapist. Does that make sense? Like, you might strike it lucky and find a really good one for you, or you might need to cycle through a few until you find one that works for you. It's like a relationship or a job. I feel sorry for people, I'm a teacher, and I feel sorry for people that start working and get full-time ongoing employment at their first school. It might be great, but it probably won't be the best fit for them. It's like a relationship. Imagine marrying the first person that you dated. This can and does happen, and I know some people personally that's happened to, and they've got a lovely relationship, been together for like 15, 20 years or something ridiculous. That's fine, but I feel like that's the exception. The same thing for jobs, the same thing for therapists. If you're not getting what you want out of your relationship with your therapist or with anyone, change it. It's okay to change, because, if you think all therapists act like your first one, like me with this person, you're going to have a bad run and they won't help you. In my opinion, it's better to cut it short, find someone that is helping you, because, I don't. You can always go back to them. Don't burn the bridges. I didn't say to this lady, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you?" and sort of go off at her. I just stood in the back of my mind thinking, well, this probably isn't the best suit for me. I'll find someone better. I didn't burn the bridges. I didn't say that I'm not coming back to her. I just didn't return. I suggest you to do the same thing. I would love to hear your horror stories of bad therapists down below, and also the subsequent finding of a good therapist afterwards. So please comment below. Let me know the bad things and the good things that you found in terms of therapy, and maybe we can all share and relate. Thank you.